Everybody, after today's hearing, I figured I would walk you through a little bit on how I actually prepare for congressional hearings, what my process is like, and what it is behind the scenes. First things first, I sit on two different committees, the House Oversight Committee and the Committee on Financial Services. I prepare my questioning for each of these committees in very different ways, but I'll walk you through oversight. So congressional hearings are kind of half team sport and half individual endeavor. As a team, as a committee, we have overall goals and what we're trying to accomplish in a hearing. And as an individual member, you get one line of questioning. Are not called suddenly. There's a lot of investigatory work that goes behind them. And members, at least, we have at least a week's notice before a hearing is actually set to happen. So we collaborate with the committee to select our topic. How we decide the topic, it varies. Sometimes when a hearing is called, I know exactly where I want to zoom in and how I want to approach it. But sometimes my staff will pitch me ideas and I'll kind of coach them through where we want to go. So no matter how much preparation you have, you also need to be willing to throw everything out the window in order to follow new information that may have been revealed during the course of the hearing itself. In fact, that Mark Zuckerberg hearing that I did a few months ago was one example of that. I had a prepared line of questioning and I threw all of it out. It just didn't sit right with me. And I drafted an entirely new line of questioning with information that I had gotten the night before. And I largely planned out my questions while I was sitting there in the hearing. So, how do I personally approach developing lines of questioning? Well, I'll show you. So for me, the first thing that I just start to do is that I just start to write down every question that I have, every question that has been presented to me. I start jotting them down on Post-it notes. I start jotting them down on scraps of paper. And I need to get it all out and put it in front of me. And I put it in front of me so that I can try to look at the connections between all these different things. Because ultimately the central challenge is not just coming up with questions, it's figuring out what questions to ask when you only have 5 minutes in front of a high profile witness. And determining that order is an exercise in just extremely brutal editing. And I really start to plan it out. And then one of the reasons why I think Post-it notes are helpful is because sometimes I'll switch up the order of my questions. I'll say, I think I should ask this question first. No, I'm going to ask this question first. And when I have to produce a linear product from a non-linear investigation, it's really helpful and it helps me kind of swap out modules, if you will, and determine what questions are in a chunk that I can remove if I don't have time or that I can add if I do have time. Lastly, a big thing that I do is that I study the psychology of my witness, especially when you are working with a witness who is non-cooperative, that doesn't want to really give you answers. The psychology of witness really matters. And so I study their disposition, I study their attitudes. Are they frustrated? Are they arrogant? Are they calm? And that informs my approach. And where did I learn that?
So I think everyone's mind works in a unique way, and this system is something that I've discovered works for me. You know, this complements how I tend to think and what's happening in my mind. But it wasn't taught to me, but I realized that, sorry, it's loud, but I realized I was approaching hearings in a similar way. And so I started to create a system around that.
Anyways, I hope that was helpful or valuable in some way. This was the last of DC business that I had this week, and now members are traveling all over the country. All right, see ya. Bye.